Hey guys, I thought I'd just talk about the Kyle Kuzma signing, what it means for the Lakers, how it affects the Lakers' future, and kind of briefly look into what I thought his market value is compared to other guys. Now to start, this Lakers fans should like this move. It might not be the best move to win. I mean, I but at this point, you kind of should trust in Pelinka's vision. And after seeing some of the contracts other players have signed, like Markel Fultz, 3 years, 50 million, you feel a little bit better about Kuzma's deal. Um, Now, what Kuzma is and what he should be for this Laker team is a role player. You know, he's not going to be he's not going to turn into that 25-point scorer that some people thought he would be when he came out in his rookie year. Now, I was one of those people. When I first saw Kuzma play, I thought he was a star. He and Lonzo just had a great connection, and it was only a matter of time before he started. But the reality is that Kuzma is not that good of a shooter. He wasn't going to shoot 37% on the season with that kind of team, and he wasn't going to have that kind of efficiency all year. Obviously, the 37% was his final mark. It was a little higher when he was Kuzmania, but so he hasn't panned out to that. Lakers fans thought he was going to be a max player, or like there was discussion Kuzma or Tatum. That's closed. Um, but that doesn't mean he's a bum. And the fans, and mostly the fans of other teams, but a lot of Lakers fans really just like to shit on Kuzma for no good reason. He has the flashy hair. He's dating Winnie Harlow. You know, he makes these dumb shots, and he has all this hype. But he's a good player. And if you were watching closely, you'd notice that he made improvements in certain aspects of his game that will really translate to helping the Lakers and translate to winning basketball. For starters, his defense is very improved. Um, he can really not lock up, but he can really guard some of the wings. He had trouble with Butler in the finals, and obviously the guy you're really looking at is like Kawhi, for him to guard in like the playoffs. But Butler's a tough matchup, and that was really his first experience trying to guard someone like that. So we'll give him a pass, and we expect him to make more jumps in the future. He has an entire season to work on it. Next is 3-point shooting. Uh, he didn't have great. He didn't have a great shot quality last season. Like he played with LeBron a bunch. He played in these great lineups, but for some reason he and Rondo just had no connection together, and they played a lot together. So that really brought Kuzma down, and he wasn't able to play to his strengths. Another thing, he was really inconsistent with his minutes. I don't think that's going to be able to change much this season. But Kuzma's a young guy who's been trying to get into a rhythm. It's going to be very hard for him to do so, um, or it would have been very hard for him to do so last year because it's the third time in 3 seasons he's had to completely change his play style and expectation. Obviously, rookie year, LeBron comes, AD comes, but now he should finally have some sense of normalcy. He has a short off season, unfortunately, so he probably couldn't have worked on his game as much as he would have liked. But the Lakers clearly liked what they saw, and you know, just watching the preseason, you could see that. Obviously, he was playing harder than a lot of the other players, and some of that must have been because he was in contract negotiations. But you know, he was cutting well, he was shooting well, he was defending well, he looked quick. Even looking at his team photo, he looks big. He can guard the three or the four. He plays a lot more four than people realize. But he's kind of an explosive jumper. He's super hard worker. At least we think so. I don't actually know. But he should be a good piece for the team. And looking forward, the Lakers really only have LeBron, AD, Kuzma, and KCP locked up. Obviously, you expect some of these guys to come back, but Caruso's going to probably get a lot of money this offseason, and the Lakers are going to do everything they can to keep him. But who knows? And same with THD. Unfortunately, because of how his rookie contract was structured, and like the amount of money the Lakers had when they signed him. They only could get him to a 2-year deal, and the first of those years was in the G League, and the second year was last year or is this year. Um, so you know, after the season, if he's as good as everyone says he is, he's going to get a pretty big extension. Um, Schroeder expiring deal. Gasol we have next year, but he's I'm sure there's some contract manipulation that's going on. I would expect him back if he's good. Trez, he's gonna have a player option. I think there's rumors that he got a 4-year, $80 million deal from the Hornets. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but people on ESPN were saying it with quite some confidence. So who knows? Um, and Matthews, like I thought Lakers would need to use the MLE to get him. The fact that they got him for the biannual was a great deal. Um, but yeah, so now onto Kuzma's market value. So his market value really fluctuated a lot. Obviously, before we saw the amount of money that some of these guys were getting re-signed for, um, the Kuzma's expected value is way lower than we thought. Like a lot of the numbers I saw floating around were like 3 years, $18 million total, like kind of beforehand. But then once he actually got signed for 3 for 40 with a player option, with no basketball being played in between these two like speculations, these not speculations, these two like conversations, people are saying like, oh, that's a good deal. Some people who don't really know basketball were saying the Lakers got finessed. Most of the real talking heads kind of said it's around market value, maybe a little high or a little low. But as we've seen some of these signings come in, it looks like it's really more on the low side. So that's a good thing. And next season, if Kuzma plays like he did in the preseason, he continues to improve his defense. He takes smart threes. He uses that great finishing he has, and he gets the rim. He can shoot like 52% with like from like 37, 38% from three. No reason he can't. He has this. He has the shot. He's not like a great shooter, but he should get great looks. And he's hungry because he's 3 years away from that next deal, and that next deal could be the real deal where he makes a lot more money. You know, Lakers need hope for him to improve. It's clear that they view him as a legitimate part of the team, and I'm excited to see him. He's like the boy who lived. He he and Lonzo made this team exciting again. In my opinion, they're what drew me to the Lakers in the first place. Obviously, you had to lose Lonzo to get Anthony Davis, and as upsetting as it is, it's not really a tough decision. Um, but who knows? Lonzo wasn't extended. Maybe he comes back next year at some sort of weird sign and trade for Schroeder. Like it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I know LeBron liked playing with Lonzo, and if Lonzo continues to improve and the Pelicans continue to not care about him, like why not? Kuzma was the first. Kuzma and Lonzo have the best connection of any two players. Like it could happen, you know. So yeah, I'm excited to see this team play. I'm really excited to see Kuzma. I just don't know where the minutes will come from. I have to imagine that Gasol, LeBron, Matthews, Morris, kind of the old guys, don't get too much time. Or not. It's not that they're not going to get too much time. It's just you know Vogel has a challenge. The Lakers are so deep that you could realistically there are 700 minutes, not 700 minutes. There are 400 minutes a game that could be distributed on this team. If you look at like an average team talent wise, like LeBron and AD could be getting 36, Shooter could be getting 33, Trez could be getting like 30. Realistically, Caruso, KCP should both be getting like 30 minutes. Kuzma should be getting like 30 minutes. Keith should be getting like 20. Matthews 20-ish. It's just there's so much talent on this team, and it's gonna be such an interesting season to watch Vogel use it. Maybe in the playoffs we just have all these strategies we can use, and who knows, maybe we can buy someone out. Like Whiteside got signed for the minimum, and Ariza's still on. Like if Kuzma's the player that we just signed him to be. We have no reason to sign Ariza. But maybe Schroeder ends up being too short. Like who knows? I don't know. It's just a lot to look forward to. Good signing by the Lakers. They you can't let an asset leave for nothing. But this probably takes him out of the third star talk. And without like LeBron, and he's 36, but he's also like probably the goat in my opinion. Like who knows? I've said who knows like 18 times, but it's gonna be an exciting season. Lakers, ah, so much young talent that needs to grow and prove themselves. Kuzma, he's gotten his money, and let's see how much more he makes. All right, first game is tomorrow. That's gonna be a fun game to watch. I'll have my reaction to it, and I'll follow more of a script. Again, I know I said I'll script it this time, and I didn't, but it's just so much fun, so much to look forward to, and I just until you see it in regular season, you just don't know what you're really gonna get. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.